Now this is what happens when you don't have a standing desk. What's up? So we've got something pretty rare actually. Do not get to do this very often anymore. We are actually tearing into the computer and we are going to be making an upgrade. After a year, somewhere around in there, feels like a year. Came out in 2020, it's late 2021, it's been at least a year. Something like that. I don't know, I don't really care. It's been too long. After way too long on the wait list, I finally got my hands on something. This is an EVGA RTX 3060 XC Black 12 gig. And the reason of a 3060 over a 3070 or higher is quite simply because I don't game on this. I will play a little lawn mowing simulator, but that is it. Everything else is going to be video rendering and maybe some very rare Blender type work, but even that is extremely uncommon. The photo editing that I do is so light it wouldn't even be making a difference. But pre-benchmarks for this, I ran a 10-minute 4K render, and it took over 16 minutes to complete, so I'm hoping this will cut it down. The software that I use is GPU supported, so just the 3700X alone is not enough to really do what I want it to do, and downgrading from my 1070 to the 970 made a big difference, so I'm hoping that this will get it back up to where I want to see. But if nothing else, at the very least, Lawnmower Simulator will be able to run it better than about 35 frames per second. Still no excuse for not being on the One X, Microsoft. Still no excuse. So, for full reference, this system has 3700X, which will eventually... I want to upgrade it to a 5950X, but it's hard to justify because I really don't do that much with it, but we'll see. Probably won't happen, but you never know. Not if the 3060 gets me where I want to be on render times, or happier on render times. And we've got 16 gigs of DDR4. Our storage subsystem has a 256 gig Samsung 970 with Gen 3, and then we also have a 1 terabyte Gen 3. I dismantled my NAS when we moved up here to save electricity, because everything up here is baseboard heat and the power bill will get much higher than I'd like it to be. So I have two 16 terabyte Exos drives behind these fans, so my NAS is inside the system as opposed to attached over the network. The benefit to that is that I will get 350 megabytes per second reads and writes on these. So, this is a B550M Steel Legend with a Gen 4 slot on it, so I'd at some point like to get a 2 terabyte 4th gen and replace that so I can get even more speed back and forth with my subsystem. So, and then the current graphics is the Zotac 970 that I got for free in the spring of 2018. It has been very reliable and has been a very good, reliable emergency backup for me. And it still works, it still does what it does perfectly fine. Unfortunately, that is no longer acceptable for what I am wanting to do. So this will be a very nice upgrade. Now the 970 was originally a $550 card, so it was a higher grade to begin with than what this is, because this is a 60. The 970 is still the minimum required card to run Forza Horizon 5, so even 8 years later, it can still run a major AAA game, which is really impressive for the longevity of these cards. But it is still not one of these. And this is a beautiful, beautiful card. One HDMI, 3 display ports, and the cool thing about this is it does not have the proprietary connector. This uses just a standard 8-pin PCI Express connector on it, so I don't have to worry about the adapter to have the power. So we are going to go ahead and snap it in, and because I left the extension cable on the kitchen table at the main house, that power cord is just going to have to stay right where it is, because I forgot to bring the extension cable to allow me to wrap that underneath. So right, I'm going to button this up, boot it up, make sure our drivers are current, run some benchmarks, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that was actually a bigger improvement than what I expected. Now, I only ran a few benchmarks, and the reason is because I'm benchmarking what I'm going to be using it for. So if you're wanting full comprehensive benchmarks across multiple programs and software, you're not going to get that here. This is what I'm going to be using this for and what I care about. So if you're wanting real benchmarks, go check out Gamers Nexus, Steve, Jay, Kyle, Paul, Linus, any of those guys, and they will all have comprehensive 3000 benchmarks that will give you what you need to know. But for here, I'm just looking at what I care about. And what I care about in a 10-minute 4K video render, on the 970, it took 2.5 minutes to render the preview so that I could scrub through it, and 16 minutes and 11 seconds to render the final output. On the 3060, the preview rendered in 1 minute and 22, and the final render was 2 minutes and 9 seconds. That is a ridiculous improvement, and that is something that I care about. Just for fun, I ran Geekbench 5 Compute. The 970 came in at a 28,203, and the 3060 clocked in at 89,294. In Passmark, it came in at 10,012.6 for the 970 and 18,386.1 for the 3060. So, is this a worthwhile upgrade for the $400 retail price that I paid for it? Yes, absolutely. I would wish that I would have done a queue for a 3070 or a 3080, knowing now that I would have been able to pull it off, but at the time when I signed up for their notify queue thing that I didn't think would ever actually amount to anything, there was even just affording a $400 GPU was a difficult to pull off. Wasn't even sure I could pull it off. But now with the amount of overtime I've been working and I'm ahead on most things, I'm able to pull that off. So if you want to complain that it's only a 3060 and I wasted my money, fine, whatever, I don't care, I'm not listening. I got one at retail, so that's really mostly what I care. I will keep an eye on their queue, and if they open their queue back up, I will probably get in for a 3070 or 3080 and hope that it will come available at a time that I can afford to get it. I did also order a monitor upgrade to go with it, so that will be my Christmas bonus for my channel company, and we'll have that coming up in a few days too. So if you want to see me get a 5950X and really see how fast we can render video, I need a couple more zeros on that subscriber count. Just recently hit 200, which is awesome. Hoping to hit 300 next year. Just keep growing. Positive growth is what we're looking for. We get to that first 1,000 and then we can start having some fun and keep growing from there. So hit comment, or hit subscribe. It is so late, I am so tired. Hit subscribe, and we will keep bringing some fun stuff. I've got some more Lego sets to assemble, so there's going to be plenty more Lego lapses coming up, stuff joining in the museum here. I was able to get the Venom head. I'm hoping I can find a Carnage, but we'll see. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.